page. That's some stupid woman who claims she's formerly deputy director general of Doordarshan. And so on the day, on January 22, people are saying, "Oh, great, wonderful, Ram Mandir." Yeah, that's what everybody said. She says, "People in the south do not worship Ram." That is the most ignorant comment I've heard in my life. And I wrote a big response, and several people, I think you also responded to it, liked it, and Ramesh Tamri or Timri, what's the name?
Yeah.
So that is so. That is the again. I don't mean to offend you or North India anything, but there seems to be a lot of ignorance in North India regarding Ram. Ram is ours. South India, Ram is not there. It is like I told you. My name is Ram Kumar. My wife is Kaushalya. Seturaman, Pattabhiraman. Where did those names come from? These names. Yeah, for centuries.
Ramaswamy Iyengar. I mean,
Exactly, Ramaswamy, not Iyengar, Ramaswamy, E.V. Ramaswamy. So this Ram thing, and there are Ram temples, and every home has a Ram calendar. And to say that Ram is not worshipped, the only Krishna is worshipped, it's a very ignorant statement. But unfortunately, I don't think she meant any malice. It is just ignorance, and she refused to even acknowledge it. Acknowledge my response. I didn't say anything offensive. I said I told you all these things. All these things are there. Of course, he is worshipped. Yes, there are more Shiva temples and Murugan temples, and all the politicians, they will keep saying, most of them will claim, our religion is not Hinduism, or many of them say it's Shaivism. What do you mean by the Shankara was a Shaivite and a Hindu and everything at the same time? These are not distinct things. And the whole of India is, why did he establish mutts all on four corners? And Rameshwaram, where Modi came, that is century
Again, Rameshwaram, I mean, it's Ram name is there.
Not only name, the belief is Ram came to worship in Rameshwaram, and he's supposed to have worshipped in Shri Rangam. You don't have to take it literally, but all these, even if they are folk belief, it comes from somewhere. So anyway, but that being said, it won't pay any electoral. You can't go on an election meeting. It won't buy you any vote saying that we open Ram temple. No, you say he gave built bathrooms. You say he did this. They will respond. And so many schemes. I can't remember all those schemes. Or say the Muslim women, the talak thing he abolished. That will find some resonance among Muslims, but not the Ram temple. That is a fact, because it is not just a north versus south. It is just the Ram is not the same as a Shaivite temple in the south. And then the politicians have made it like that. Even though for people like me, it's all the same. It's just whether you go and stand there, it doesn't matter. And somebody on Giri's page said, I cannot relate to this Murti at all because it is dark and Dravidian looking. What a stupid. You may feel it. I understand. Okay, you are used to feeling a fair-looking Ram and a fair-looking Sita and all that. That's fine. But it is ignorant to say it in public. Yes, you were used to certain things, and it's understandable. But to come out and say, I can't relate to this Ram Murti. So the whole nation, Modi has spent 500 years built this temple, and you're talking about the color of the Murti. And if Modi can worship there and consecrate it, you want your own calendar, okay, worship your own calendar, don't go to the temple, that's fine. Anyway, that's the so I'm surprised sometimes at the ignorance. And as I said there also in my response, there are South Indian like fools who come to and speak in parliament that against North Indians, or North Indians are cow piss drinkers and all that nonsense they talk. But you don't do the same thing. There are stupid people there. So you don't have to respond with your own stupidity, at least not openly. Anyway, so where were we?
We discussed about the Tamil Nadu politics, anti-Brahmanism, and effect and possible associates of Kannamalai who might change the electoral scenario. And now we can, with your permission, move to America. So the elections are also due, and November. There is an Indian name. So what is your assessment? What's happening there? If you can summarize it.
I will give you my opinion. First, I have to preface it with a disclaimer or a thing. I think you are a supporter of Trump, and almost all my JNU friends are strong supporters of Trump. I am alone. So what I might say something about Trump, I'll say it openly. So
Okay.
you shouldn't be personally offended, even
No,
though
no,
you.
no, no, not at all. That is
Okay.
your opinion, but
Yeah. Trump, the first thing is, will he get elected again as president? It is not impossible. It is a possibility. I won't say it's a strong possibility, but it is a possibility, which even that possibility is such a draconian thing, in my opinion, for America to do. Because firstly, the most important reason not to elect him is what he did on January 7th, 2021. He had his people, invade the Capitol, and then two police officers killed, and they set up a place to hang Vice President Trump, not Trump, Pence, who has been loyal to him for 4 years, for no other reason than he said, I cannot stop certification. That is a procedure. He has to sign off. Certification of Biden. There is the constitution. I'm bound to certify. Therefore, I will do it. For that, they almost hanged him. Now, something like this, on a monstrosity of this scale, should disqualify him. He should be in prison, if you ask me. But it's okay. The constitution, something, blah blah blah. Fine. But to re-elect him as president with more than 50%, 51% of the vote, that's unthinkable. I'm truly shocked in America that it is even a possibility. The same I keep talking, I don't no longer tell people, but I say the same analogy. Modi, 10 years, for 25 years, he has been elected continuously for elected office, as chief minister and prime minister, and his majority keeps increasing. And they still fools talk about AVM. Without, in 2014, who was in the 10 years, the UPA was in power. So what AVM was, EVM, sorry. What EVM was, who manipulated the EVMs? He got he got a majority. So there was no manipulation. Or if he did Manmohan Singh fix the EVMs to vote Modi? Still people talk about that bullshit. Now, in India, fortunately so far, neither Rahul or anybody else who was talking about the EVM and nonsense invaded Parliament House, Lok Sabha, and tried to kill Modi or the president or a speaker. Nothing. That didn't happen. That's one good thing. Indians, by our nature is our fiber is not violence. In violence might happen, but in America, that fiber is there, especially a strong rightist faction. And the second part of it is, after that, he should not have been allowed to remain free, but he still might be president. And he is still, even I think 2 to 3 days ago, he said he will impose martial law in the US if he becomes president, if necessary. Now, even if it's necessary, anybody will do all those things. That's a different matter. Do you say that when you're contesting for election that I impose martial law? You don't. When he's doing all those things and 1,000 other things, people are still supporting him. I don't know why. The one reason that he might be elected president is a problem with the US election process, where unlike in India, it is not as if to be nominated in India. For nomination for Lok Sabha, for contesting election comes from the party, and the prime, they all get together and elect the prime minister once they get a majority. Here, to be elected president, you have to get the nomination approved or elected from each state, and then they all get together and nominate him nationally to stand as the Republican nominee. But this process at the state level is so dominated by I'm sure you heard of the word primaries and all that. So we don't have that system. We don't have primaries. We don't have elections locally in Chennai and Coimbatore to say Modi. We want Modi as a candidate. It happens later. The MPs get here at every stage. Primaries he has to win at the state level. And those are, it's not a general election. It is only Republican Party registered members who elect that. And who are the most active? It is like the SFI. The most active, committed, or you can say fanatic people are the people who are all the time doing this, spend all the time doing this, and they dominate. Most of them are Christian fundamentalists, because they want all Christian policy. They want to make America Christian if possible. And their the judges and the Supreme Court should all be rightist, against abortion, against immigrants, everything. Now these fellows dominate. So this kind of a small number, see the republic. If a state has, I'm just giving. Are you with me so far? Hello. Oh, okay. If there are, let us, if you just take one example, let's say there are a million Republican Party members, registered members in California. Now, the population of California might be 30, 40 million. Registered members will probably be even less than 1 million, it will be 500,000. Out of which you might say 50 or 60,000 will be, like in India, all the most actually who are totally committed all the time in politics, attending every meeting, every demonstration. There's 50, 60,000 people in California will decide who the candidate will be. And they are the most violent, most vocal. And just like in cities, like you and me, we may not go even to for the vote in election because who wants to go, who wants to stand in line, then there will be riots. But these people, most of them now carry guns also. These are the people who go and vote and decide Trump will be our nominee in California. So like that in 50 states, they decide and then he becomes the nominee. So a small minority of people, the nominee. Now, if there is an election tomorrow, if the system were changed, say one day everybody votes directly for the president rather than through this process, and then there's another process. Then they vote for, you make Trump your nominee, Biden will become nominee similar way, and then everybody votes. Again, the states get together. It's a complicated thing. Even, you know what? I'll tell you one aside. Again, without any being offended, almost every friend of mine on Facebook, I've not spoken to you. We have not exchanged any views on that, including Rajiv Lochan, who is so intelligent and so well informed. He is so good. And Akshay Bakaya, who is also very intelligent, all those things. Both of them had said the same thing, which was 100% wrong because they don't know. Now, both of them said, in the US, people don't elect the president. The US people, citizens don't elect the president. It's the states which elect the president. Absolutely wrong. And I explained to Bakaya, this was 2-3 years ago. Oh, no, my friend in the US told me. I said, I don't care about your friend. I will tell you how it is done. And I explained to him and gave him links, which told him it is not, it is actually who votes on election day. November 16th, I vote, everybody votes. And they're all tabulated. And in some way, they decide who their state team should be to go and elect the president in Washington. So it is not direct. It's not, they don't count all the votes in the US one day and say, okay, 100 people voted for Trump, 105 for Biden, so Biden wins. It doesn't happen that way. But what determines who the president is based on the vote of each single person on one day in one poll. So to say that people don't elect the president, yes, people do, but not directly. That's all it means. And just like if we say people don't elect the prime minister, technically you're right, but then we vote for Lok Sabha MPs who then elect the prime minister based on majority. So people do elect the Modi is a people's prime minister. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah. This is a very, very interesting, differentiation. That these parties, primaries, both the parties, Republicans and the Democrats, their most active members, maybe 50,000 out of a million or 100,000 out of a million, decide who will be the candidate from their city or municipality for a Republican as well as a Democrat candidate. So that's how the candidate for both the parties are decided. But actually, everybody in the general election votes, whether they are hardcore Republican, neutral, or hardcore Democrat. So this is the inter-party, election system, which
Correct.
is non-existent in India. In
Correct.
India, a coterie decides who will be fighting for what number of seats, and then the general people, there are general elections. So there is
Correct.
a primary difference. That's a party thing and the general election. I mean, this is an inner party democracy or whatever you can say, The maximum number who support somebody in
It's when,
USA.
yeah, no, yes and no.
Yes,
In India, the Lok Sabha candidates are basically more or less nominated by the high command, or whatever you
high
call it.
command,
And
party high command. Yes,
right.
yes.
So yes, and then they go and elect the prime minister. So it flows that way. Here,
Yeah.
it's not truly in a party democracy, in the
Okay.
sense, because as I said, out of a million, California, the population of the US is 330 million, or something
Mhm,
like that. The voting public might be 200, 250. I don't remember what it is.
mhm.
But there are only two parties. Again, there's only
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ARP. And the party's candidates is decided by half a million or 1 million, even 1 million
yes,
people who
yes.
are very committed. Just think of the people like the SFI and
Yeah,
or
yeah. Very committed people. Very
very
committed.
committed, loud, and they're willing to do anything, including violence, to
Mhm.
get their candidate. They decide. They keep pushing their point, so everybody else is blacked out. That is why you find that he will win. Most likely he will win the nomination in a landslide. He might get 70 or 80% of the votes nationally, as opposed to 20 or 30% for Nikki Haley. It's quite possible. But in the general election, why does it go down to, even last time it was like that? He got 49, 48, and Biden got 52 or 51. But it's still close enough. That is how close it was. So what happened? Why is this huge difference? Because a small number of people are Trump. Here, everybody gets to vote. That is why you have this people who don't have widespread support. But even allowing for that, I concede in 50% of the vote, nearly half of the people in the US vote for somebody like him, is tragic. But it can be explained by the fact that 50% of the people, 100 million people, don't like Trump. Like India, many of my JNU friends also, oh, I don't like Biden. I don't like support of black people or immigrants. Yes, I understand that. So I can't stand Trump, but I still vote for him. That is one part. But um, but in my book, and there are some like that, including many prominent Republicans who resigned, left the party. Anybody but Trump, ABT. Anybody but Trump. It doesn't matter. It's Biden. You want my Mother Singh from Jaipur? Yes, but not Trump. Ramkumar? Yes, not Trump. Because that's how bad it is, and they don't realize. See, I gave you this example how smart people like Lochan or Rajiv Lochan or Akshay Bakaya, how can they not know this? It is one not know. In spite, it is not as if it is a totally new subject. Is a different matter. How is the president elected in Cambodia? Nobody knows. So I don't.
Yeah,
But the
that's
US,
okay.
we all keep talking about the US and election. So they should know, or they should know enough to check. They actually, Rajiv is recent, 2 weeks ago or something. He said something. No, PV. He said in his line, he's not offensive. Bakaya will say something rude, but uh, Rajiv doesn't. He says no, but he said most people in India, uh, he was responding to me, don't realize that American citizens do not elect a president. The American states do. Then I said, I'm sorry. Don't take this with them. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be offensive, but this is completely mistaken. This is a superficial view. Here is how he's elected. And then he didn't say, yeah, okay, I take it back. He liked it. He realized that he was wrong. Now, the same kind of, because you are not there, if if I try to tell you Jaipur, it's not like that really. The Gehlot support is much stronger than you realize, Madhav Singh ji. That will be silly of me, because I should concede the fact that I may know something, I may know a lot, but you are more than likely to know a lot more than I do. If I want to contest what you are saying as an outsider to Jaipur, I should do my homework. and say, if you say, something, and I hear Madhav Singh ji, but I'm sorry, this is what this says, or is this wrong? That is understandable. So no, you don't understand Madhav Singh ji. Is not the case. That is what they're doing. That is extends to the no. The reason I'm saying that is not just the election process, which is complicated. Which most, I'll tell you, 80% of Americans cannot explain it. I asked many people. Finally, I gave up. I went on reason. Now I can Google. I researched it. I could figure it out. Otherwise, it's impossible. I asked many people in the Federal Reserve. People who work for me, smart people. They'll say, then they said, it's something like that. I don't know. They really don't know. Now, the same kind of thing, because the distance, the lack of familiarity, you don't know what kind of horrible person Trump is. People don't realize. I am not for Biden. He's too weak. And yes, I don't like his many of his policies. Yes, but then Trump will. This one says, he said that many times. I admire the Kim Jong Un, the military parades. I wish, like Russia, I could also be president for the rest of my life, like Putin. How many warnings does he have to give?
Certainly. One more thing, Mr. Ram Ramkumar. There has been something to be known, which will be definitely interesting. Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, and what happened to them and how relevant they will be in American politics.
Vivek has dropped out of the presidential race. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So but he said then Trump called him. He's a vegetarian and calls him some names, but some insulting names. That is typical Trump. He does to everybody. And then the minute he quit the politics, next day Trump said, "Oh, he's going to be a long-time friend. He's going part of our administration, no, part of our group, something like that." That is what, if kissing the ring. You know that, right? In mafia, in mafia thing. So if you don't kiss the ring, he'll be your friend. The minute you say no, maybe tomorrow he'll say fuck you. That's the kind of person he is. That's how he fired the FBI director hardly 10 days after he took over, because he called him and said, "Are you with me, or will you be with me no matter what?" And I think the FBI director said, he's a Republican, lifelong Republican. He said, "I will do the right thing." I thought, so he fired him immediately without telling him. He found it while he was delivering some lecture somewhere. That is the kind of person he is. Now, so would you ever want a president like that? Even Modi, if he started doing things like that, many of us would say this is wrong.
Certainly.
Indira Gandhi, that is, even though I like her, what she did in the emergency was horrible. So for the same reason, but how can you love Trump? Because he says, aapke bar Modi Sarkar, something like that. What he said.
Yeah.
Okay, he might be India's friend, but he will drop India the minute Modi says, "No, Mr. Trump ji, I think you should respect the election result." He'll say, "You Chutia Indian, what do you?" He is like that. He's basically, that is his fiber. And he doesn't know anything. He doesn't.
Okay. Since you have been there in USA for a long time, how people perceive India or Indians after Modi, there a perceptible change or more visibility and acceptance of and knowledge or information about India, or there is no difference? What is your take on that?
I'll tell you. Firstly, I'm not working now, so my interaction with professional people is quite limited. Americans, professional Americans. I mean, when I was the Federal Reserve, I used to see them, talk to them, but so that is limited. But having said that, in general, if people here don't care about Modi or India, they don't care. They are ignorant in that sense. Americans are ignorant. They think that the whole world is only them. That is given. But I've traveled. I travel quite a bit. Internationally, everywhere we go, sometimes somebody sitting on a boat or on the aircraft, they talk about India. They always have positive things. Yes, they don't want to be rude. That's one thing. But you can sense that they have some respect because of the fact that Indians are everywhere now. You find India's software professionals everywhere. And one great thing I found in the past 2-3 years, going to places like Switzerland and Rome, there are Indians everywhere, even in the Alps. I see Indians, young Indian couples. Not I'm retired, so I might have saved all my life to make one trip. But these are young Indians, 30 and 32, with a small 4-year-old kid. They have the money and the time to travel to all these places, which in our time when in college, if your dad went to US once, you'll brag, my dad got this from America. That's just how it was. Now
Yeah.
everybody says you don't travel everywhere without money. That means you're doing well. And people, when they see so many in Switzerland, I was, more than one person say, yeah, there are in Basel, there are so many Indians. In Zurich, there are so many Indians. So the success is you see it on the street. The media might say, like American, some government body say the religious freedom is in danger. That's bullshit. You can ignore it. Who cares? You say it, right?